The Bible is for me. Oh, hi there. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Bible is Funny podcast. My name is Anthony, and that's him.
I have a name. Tim.
Himothy. Welcome to Cheat Day, Devos. Today we're diving into Numbers yet again. And this is
the most exciting book of the Bible. I'll tell you that.
This ain't your grandpa's phone book. Diving into Numbers. Before we do, a couple of things, because we got a lot of ground to cover today. So I'm going to get kind of off to the races, but we got to do stuff at the top. We do have Bible's Funny merch available. Check out our new hats. You can check them out. I don't think either of us are. I'm not wearing a hat, am I?
No, you're wearing a hat. You're not wearing one of our hats.
We have hats available. So go check those out. New podcast segment. Churches are funny. If you haven't heard about it, you should. We're going to be telling like awkward, funny church stories that we get from you, our listening family. So we're going to be doing like some guided prompts. You can follow Instagram at The Bible is Funny to see those. But for now, we're just asking for your awkward church story, something that was kind of awkward that happened at church or was funny and you want to share it with us. And I'm going to be honest with you, we're not even fully sure what we're going to do with these yet, but right now we're just asking for them. And then we're going to roll out this new podcast segment. Pretty excited about it.
Yeah. Seems like there might be something fun there to talk about.
I feel like there is. We've got a couple that we want to kind of start with. And yeah, I'm excited to see what we get from that. So without further ado, that's how you're actually supposed to pronounce that. Numbers 7 through 14.
Cheat Day Devos.
Cheat Day Devos is the name of the segment. Also, we, between us, have 0 MDivs and 0 Bible degrees.
Between us, we only have 1 college degree, too.
0 degrees of Bible separation between me and Tim. Listen, we're not Bible experts. What we do here is for giggles and laughs and chuckles and nonsensical pastimery.
That's the shirt.
That's the sign.
Nonsensical pastimery.
Nonsensical pastimery is the genus of what we do. So, don't like go try to win a theological debate with anything you heard here.
I disagree. I think you can win a debate if you make the other person laugh. It's like, it's the card.
That is true. Yeah. It's a little trump card. You can make a, there's that great, sketch Tim Robbins does where he gets on his phone when he's losing a debate. Did you ever see that? Did you ever watch? I think you should leave. He's like this, like, talking head kind of like news guy, and every time he starts losing a debate he gets on his phone and he just stops kind of engaging. It's so funny, but laughter is a funnier version of the same thing. Get a joke in there and then get out. It's sort of like the old like the smoke bomb, right? You can disappear and then they're like, oh, I thought we were arguing a second ago, but now we're having a good time doing something else.
Well, there's a great Simpsons line that I use all the time with my wife when like Homer and Marge are arguing, and then he said something, and then she laughs, and he goes, you laughed, I'm off the hook. And then he leaves or whatever. Yeah. And I do that to my wife, and like, you laughed. Yeah. I'm off the hook. You can't be mad at me.
Yeah.
You're obviously not mad at me now.
That's right.
Let's go.
In this very moment, this very second, spell was broken. So let's get into Numbers chapter 7 through 14.
It's a lot of stuff. Number 7 opens up as the offerings for the dedication. And there's, again, what we're doing here, we're going to read through, and we're not going to read through every verse. We have done that work, but I'm going to show you in a second why you're going to be thankful that we don't do this. So Moses finished setting up the dwelling. He anointed it, consecrated it along with all that went in it. At the same time, he anointed and consecrated the altar and its accessories. So that's what we're
just so that people have a sense. Can you give me an example of what one of the tribes brought for an offering to dedicate the temple?
Yeah. So they're some of them have, by the way, early on, they have 6 wagons and 12 oxen, a wagon for each pair of leaders, and an ox from each leader. So they have all these things. They brought these offerings to God. And then going down here. Sorry, I'm not quite there. When the altar was anointed, the leaders brought their offerings for its dedication and presented them before the altar because God had instructed Moses. Each day, one leader is to present his offering for the dedication of the altar. That's verse 10 and 11.
So the thing is done. This is like a housewarming gift almost. Think of it like when a boat, when you smash the champagne bottle, right? It's dedication of the thing. So what would somebody bring for that?
I did that with my inflatable kayak and it kind of ruined the whole day.
Warranty.
On the first day, again, this is each day one leader is to present the offering of dedication to the altar. On the first day, Nahshon, son of Amminadab of the tribe of Judah, brought his offering. His offering was a silver plate weighing 3 1/4 pounds and a silver bowl weighing 1 3/4 pounds, according to the standard sanctuary weights, each filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering. A gold vessel weighing 4 ounces, filled with incense, a young bull, a ram, and a yearling lamb for a whole burnt offering, a he-goat for an absolution offering, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, and 5 yearling lambs to be sacrificed as a peace offering. This was the offering of Nahshon, son of Amminadab. Okay.
That seems like a really nice offering.
Cool.
It's real well-rounded. You've got flour, you've got livestock, you've got like a lot. That was really thoughtful of Nahshon to bring that for the offering.
On the second day, Nathaniel, son of Zuar, the leader of Issachar, this is day 2.
This is Nathaniel's offering.
Yeah.
He's now, somebody came, brought presents, next person comes, let's see what they brought.
His offering was way different. It was a silver plate weighing 3 1/4 pounds and a silver bowl weighing 1 3/4 pounds, according to the standard sanctuary weights, each filled with fine flour mixed with oil as a grain offering, a gold vessel weighing 4 ounces. Wait, I feel like I've heard this before. Filled with incense, a young bull, a ram, and a yearling lamb for a whole burnt offering, a he-goat for an absolution offering, 2 oxen, 5 rams, 5 he-goats, and 5 yearling lambs to be sacrificed as a peace offering. And so if you didn't follow along word for word from what I was saying, what they could have done is summed this up by saying ditto.
They all brought the same.
They brought the same thing.
Which must have been so embarrassing.
So then this chapter, by the way, this is what we're saving you from. We get to, on the third day, Eliab, the leader of the people, brought his offering, and they spell out the same thing. And on the fourth day, Eleazar, son of Shadur, and what did he bring? He brought the same thing.
Yeah.
And on the fifth day, on the sixth day, on the seventh, on the eighth, on the ninth, there's 80, 90, how many verses do we have? We have 89 verses in this chapter, and most of them all say the same thing about what these different tribes brought. Like, we heard it the first time, but we have to get it spelled out again,
right?
11 more times.
Imagine if you had a housewarming party, and everyone brought a diffuser. You just kept opening them. You were like, oh, good.
What I'm okay with here is that I feel like these tribes really work together on bringing a gift, and it's something we should probably take into our modern gift giving ideas. Like when you have friends. The first person brought a gift. The second person, knowing what they brought, didn't bring something more. They didn't try to outdo the first person because that wouldn't be cool. They didn't bring a silver vessel weighing 5 1/4 pounds. They brought the same exact thing.
Yeah.
And you know what they did? By doing that, they set this precedent. Just bring the same thing, man.
Right.
Bring the exact same thing. And then at the end of the day, we're not escalating this to no ends where like the 12th person has to bring a 400 barrel like vat of oil and incense that would fill a Hummer. Like they didn't have to do that because they all agreed at the beginning. Just bring the same thing. Right. They coordinated. And that's what you need to do with your friends. When you go to a wedding or something, go, hey, what are y'all bringing? Because I don't want to go like, are you going off registry? Or are we going on registry? Are we bringing presents to this kid's birthday party or not? Is this a presents party? Is this just a presents party? Anyway, I appreciated that.
It's very good. I think especially when it comes to gift cards, I think coordination matters, right?
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm thinking about it with my siblings and our nieces and nephews. That's what I'm like, hey, $20 is the gift card number. If you go over that, shame on you.
But if you go
less than
that,
shame on
Definitely
you.
shame on you.
But that way they go, oh, yeah, $20, because none of us know what our nieces and nephews are like, and what they actually want. It's like really expensive. So like, we're all, oh, look. And the degree to which Moses and Aaron are receiving these, the first one, they're probably like, oh, this is great. Oh, the second one is more than, oh, okay. So everybody brought the same thing. All right. Yep. Yeah. Well, we got room. We can put all the cows over here and all this stuff over here with flour, bread to make and whatnot. There's expectations are set. I think it's a great takeaway from this first chapter. Coordinate, value, and then be there. Because the 12th one could have been such a huge letdown. If you're the 12th day and you brought that and everybody else was like up and down, then you ended up lower on the scale, it would have been like, oh, what a low note to end on. Instead, it was the same note. Every great choral arrangement, every great orchestra, everyone's playing the same note.
But the thing is, they do end on the same note.
That's what I'm saying.
They don't all. Anyway,
they all constantly play the same note. That's how music is made.
Yeah, I did like that.
In verse, this is, by the way, when we talk about like skipping stuff, just because sort of us reading it to you is not going to be very entertaining. That is repeated 12 times. This is like a 90 verse chapter.
That's
like,
what it says. Yeah,
goes on and on.
You're welcome for this. We read it. I read it.
Yeah.
You don't have to. We just did it.
Because honestly, I was like, ooh, it would be funny if one of these was different. They're not.
No, not a single thing.
They're not different. Verse 89 does give a little Wizard of Oz. When Moses entered the tent of meeting to speak with the Lord, he heard the voice speaking to him from between the two cherubim above the atonement cover on the Ark of the Covenant law. This is the way the Lord spoke to him. And I was like, oh, that's very visual.
Sounds like between two angels. I'm going to make it seem like these angels are talking.
God's throwing the voice.
A little puppet.
Sounds like it's coming from over there. How about chapter 8? Are we ready to go to chapter 8?
Numbers 8, the lights.
All of the lights.
No.
It wasn't even a great one, but it was the only one that came to mind.
You didn't have to sing anything. Nobody asked you to.
I mean, the people want it.
Nobody.
They don't say it, but I know.
No, I know. They do say it to me. I know they don't.
Numbers 8, the lights, starts in verse 2 for me, because Moses is commanded, speak to Aaron and say to him, when you set up the lamps, see that all 7 light up the area in front of the lampstand. And I thought, honestly, it's good that God mentioned that, because if I had a lampstand and additional lamps, I probably would have separated them so that there would have been light all in the room. Yeah. Instead of putting the lamps in front of the lamps.
Maybe God wanted a spotlight though. Just a beam. And the only way to do this was like 50 lamps.
Yeah. Maybe they were having a hard time seeing, because a lamp isn't the brightest, So you were like, man, we just put all the lighting in the one area, because you guys are having a hard time. We had that whole strange fire incident, and we were trying to avoid that. Yeah, that's what I had from 8. Anything else?
Verse 5 through 7 is about purifying the Levites. God spoke to Moses, take the Levites from the midst of the people of Israel and purify them for God's work. This is the way you will do it. Sprinkle water of absolution on them. Have them shave their entire bodies. Have them scrub their clothes. Then they will have purified themselves. Yeah. And I just picture them doing that, like walking around with those like hairless cats as pets too. Like everybody's clean. Just a bunch of wrinkly old,
completely shaven person with a hairless cat. It just
doesn't it kind of make
an
you
image.
Yeah, I think we should have an AI prompt where we get an image at the end of this.
It's just a lot of flesh.
And then later it says, have them take a young bull with its accompanying grain offering of fine flour mixed with oil, plus a second young bull for absolution offering. Bring the Levites to the front of the tent of meeting and gather the entire community of Israel. Present the Levites before God as the people of Israel lay their hands on them. Aaron will present the Levites before God as a wave offering from the people of Israel, so they will be ready for God's work. And we remember the wave offerings before are like of pigeons or whatever, and they rip them in half and there's blood all over the place, and then they wave them at God. Yeah. And I wondered if that's what they did with the Levites here. Maybe not ripped them open, but like, do they hoist them up
Right.
like cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And like wave them up.
And he starts with the
Wait.
kids, and it's all fun.
Yeah.
And then Dad comes over and he's like,
Don't pick me up. Don't pick me up.
To
We got to wave you around. And Aaron and Moses get together.
really focusing on bending with the legs.
I thought that was fun.
That was funny.
And then later on in like verse 19ish, so God says, but now I take the Levites as stand-ins in the place of every firstborn son in Israel. Select out of all the people of Israel. And I've like basically God said all the firstborn people, animals and stuff, those are mine.
Right.
What God does with them, I don't know. Where does God put them?
Just
I don't know.
dedicated.
They're just dedicated.
Yeah.
They belong to God. Mm-hmm. I don't know what doesn't belong to God, but I digress. And then he says, I've given the Levites Aaron and his sons to do all the work involved in the tent of meeting on behalf of the people of Israel and to make atonement for them so that nothing bad will happen to them when they approach the sanctuary. And I imagine Aaron's like, oh, yeah, guys, we wouldn't want anything bad to happen to anyone.
So many times.
In the sanctuary. He's got to be so miffed.
There's just that look of like,
if you don't remember, his kids were torched.
We'd hate for there to be an incident
in the tent where someone got burned alive. God, would we? We wouldn't want that.
We all
again.
have those. If you work in like an office environment where like meetings or announcements are being made to the staff, and it's like, this is about one person. This is. So some of you, there seems to be some confusion with the mileage reimbursement, and some people are forgetting that it has to be turned in on time. Everybody's just going like...
And you don't pay with gas in the rental car with the company card.
Yeah.
And put down mileage. You can't do both.
Can't do both.
Frank.
One person has traveled this quarter.
Not that Frank would ever do that.
So maybe you just take Frank aside. Because none of us do that. 24 really spoke to me. And I think a lot of people this is going to be their takeaway from this whole episode. And I'll give you the reference again.
Hot take.
Numbers 8, verses 24 and 25, actually. This applies to the Levites. Men 25 years old or more shall come to take part in the work at the tent of meeting. But at the age of 50, they must retire from their regular service and work no longer. And for me personally, I was convicted by this. And we talked earlier about the importance of a Sabbath in previous episodes. Like that really seems to matter. And I think this is another one that like I'm going to be on about a lot.
Oh, good.
I have to retire at 50 for religious reasons.
To be fair, I think
would like to start cashing my retirement in at 50 for religious reasons.
Yeah, I do think they retired at 50 because they didn't live much longer than that. So you might want to just plan ahead.
Listen, I'm taking it as it's written, and it says I have to retire at 50. So I got about 9 more good working years because the last couple of years before 50, I'm not working.
You're phoning it in.
Yeah, you senioritis. And then I'm done.
Good.
Which is kind of exciting. Hopefully we'll be done with the Bible by then. Because
you're going to need to retire.
I'm done at 50.
Well, if you follow along, the next verse says, they can assist their brothers in the tasks in the tent of meeting, but they're not permitted to do the actual work themselves.
Yeah.
So basically, they shall not do any work forever and ever, and they will always be called consultants from here on out.
That's right.
So you can get into that line of work safely after you retire.
Yeah. I consult on, and that, what a stage of life that will be, when I don't do the work. Let me be clear. And I'll let me open my King James. Turn to the page. I don't do any of the work.
Show you where it is.
But I'm allowed to help if you want me to help. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing a long lunch. Mm-hmm. And I might not be back. I might be napping.
Numbers 9, the Passover. We got rules for the Passover. More rules. We do. God spoke to Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after leaving Egypt. Have the people of Israel celebrate Passover at the set time. Celebrate it on schedule on the evening of the 14th day of this month, following all the rules and procedures. So that's the precedent. That's where we are.
Here's what I like about 9, because you have some very specific rules for Passover. We've talked about this before. There's almost an appreciation for like some specificity in like how you're supposed to do this and when you're supposed to do it, et cetera, et cetera. Here's a level of specificity I personally would be okay not having to get into, but it clearly was an issue. Starts in verse 6. Some of them could not celebrate the Passover on that day because they were ceremonially unclean on account of a dead body. That's verse 6. So they came to Moses and Aaron that same day and said to Moses, we've become unclean because of a dead body, but why should we be kept from presenting the Lord's offering with the other Israelites at the appointed time? And this just feels like to me, that was very Italian. This feels like to me, this just feels like to me a great way to divert from what should be the primary follow-up question from Moses and Aaron.
Why?
Well, no. It's Passover today, so we would like to do the Passover. So we have an issue because we're ceremonially unclean because of a dead body. But like, it's like, what can we do? Because we really want to do Passover.
Right. But why? Wait, you said
Why
something
do we want to
about
do Passover? Great question. Because for me, it matters a lot. And it is like, to me, it's just, you got to take the time to really remember. You know,
I know
you got to remember to remember.
Yeah,
and I'm
guys,
always saying that.
Yeah, I know you guys like bread. I'm just going to back up just one quick second.
Sure, yeah.
You said something about corpses.
It's just an uncleanness. Just kind of a ceremonially unclean, you know? There's a couple ways it can happen.
Because the body.
Could be because of a little spot on your head. There's different reasons.
Yeah.
For us, it's a dead body, but for others, they touch a locust or something. There's a lot of reasons.
Just the one dead body?
You could become unclean.
Just the one? I like to hear that there was enough, like, it's the only one they call out.
Yeah.
Like, some of the people couldn't celebrate because they were ritually unclean because of some corpses.
Right.
Like, there were enough people that were ritually unclean because of corpses that they had to be called out.
See, it feels, that's what I'm saying almost, is this feels very specific to like, 2 people.
I don't know. That's why I think there was enough.
It says some of the people, I feel like it was like 2 people. We're back to the meeting.
I think it was a lot.
The staff meeting situation of like guys came in and they were like, yeah, so hey, again, we've seen the stakes when you do this wrong. So they're taking it seriously. They're like, I might have been unclean because of a body.
Yeah. Again, I think it was more. What I think was funny in here too is that like verse 8, they're saying like, we've been unclean because of the corpses. Like, why should we be barred from the Passover? And Moses said, "Give me some time. I'll find out what God says in your circumstances." And Moses, it sounds like to me, Moses is like, "Just give me a minute. I got a guy. I'm gonna go to. Let me go talk to the boss." See what I can get done for you.
I don't want to throw people's pasts in their face. I don't think that's kind. But if you are going to Moses, who murdered an Egyptian in broad daylight
a long time ago.
But I'm just saying, if you're like, so I know you probably don't understand what it's like to be suddenly in the presence of a dead body, and you're aware that stuff happens sometimes, and you're in the presence of a dead body. And maybe there's a little bit of
okay.
It happens.
I'll talk to God.
We've all been there. Okay. And then to stay on this for just one more line, in verse 10, we get a response. Tell the Israelites, when any of you or your descendants are unclean because of a dead body or are away on a journey, they are still to celebrate the Lord's Passover, but they're to do it on the 14th day of the second month. The original one is on the 14th day of the first month. And then here's where I have to wonder, if then on the second month, you're like, ba-da-ba-ba-da-bow, can you believe it? I was again in the presence of a dead body. Then it's like, all right, bro. You're
problems
then
here.
you have to go. If it's 2 months in a row, you can't participate and you have to leave town.
To be fair, I thought he was alive. I had to check. I lifted the hand up and
if you get like one excused absence, and then the second one is like, no, you can't skip the exam now because the attendance record must be defended.
And also you mentioned it in that verse too, that like if you're ritually unclean or you're on vacation, like you still do Passover, you just do it different.
Yeah.
And like it's like when you're on vacation, you thought you could get away with not going to church.
That's right.
Sorry, man.
Yeah, tough.
God said go. You just have to go to the Wednesday night service.
I think we should. I think we should. We should implement this personally as well. Again, as people who follow the Bible. And so when you're like, hey, my birthday's next week. Oh, shoot, man, I would love to go to that dinner out of town.
Just touch the dead body. Perfect.
Next month, same day, is my makeup.
Oh, that's a good idea.
So, like, you were out of town. You couldn't come with the, agreed upon allotment gift card. You couldn't come to the dinner. So we're doing the dinner again the next month. So I'd love to see you make it to that one.
And if they come back and say, but I just touched a dead body, then it's okay.
You don't have to.
You don't need to be at my birthday. It's fine.
No, that's a skip for the birthday.
It's a hard skip for me. If I invite you to my birthday party and then you've just had your hands all in some cadaver, it's fine. We'll catch you next year.
But I have another observation starting in verse 10.
Yeah.
And I really, this is the kind of reading I don't want to do. I want to not read this to you, but I do feel like you need some segments to get a sentiment of what's going on here. This is Moses describing. On the day the tabernacle, the tent of the covenant law was set up, the cloud covered it. From evening till morning, the cloud above the tabernacle looked like fire. This is how it continued to be. The cloud covered it, and at night it looked like fire. Whenever the cloud lifted up from above the tent, the Israelites set out, and whenever the cloud settled, the Israelites encamped. At the Lord's command, the Israelites set out, and his command they encamped. As long as the cloud stayed over the tabernacle, they remained in the camp. When the cloud remained over the tabernacle a long time, for example, the Israelites obeyed the Lord's order and did not set out. Sometimes the cloud was only over the tabernacle a couple of days. The Lord's command, they would encamp, and then his command, they would set out. Sometimes the cloud stayed only from the evening till the morning, and then it would lift in the morning, and then they would set out, whether it was day or night or whatever it was. Whether the cloud stayed over the tabernacle for 2 days or a month or a year, the Israelites would remain in camp and not set out. But then it would lift up and they would set out. Was Moses trying to hit a word count at the end of this chapter?
Gosh. Yeah, it's definitely giving grandpa vibes going on about his whole past and history. Like, we get it. There was a cloud. Yeah. There was a cloud, and the cloud was there. They did things when the cloud was there. They did other things when the cloud wasn't there.
We had to walk to school. We had to walk home from school. And then we get up the next day. We'd walk to school. It'd be raining outside. We'd walk to school.
So you'd walk to school.
We'd go to school. We'd come home from school. It was raining. Sometimes raining in the morning. It wasn't raining after school. And we would have to. We'd get up the next day. It looked like rain.
But you still walk to school.
So then we would walk to school.
Okay.
Looking, is it gonna rain? We'd walk to school. We'd walk home from school.
Okay.
And then we'd get ready to walk to school. It's a Saturday. What am I doing walking to school?
Okay. Grandpa, do you need some soup?
Look. This is like, what did it end up being? 9 verses of just reiterating
the same thing.
When the cloud was there, it stayed, and then when it moved, we moved.
And I would say we saved you all from that, but we didn't. Really we just read it again and then made a joke about it again, and then we went back and read some more about it. So
now here it is in the Message translation. Just kidding. It was very
I feel
funny
like I gave you the Message translation.
Yeah, it was very funny. We know.
Got it.
A little bit of time.
Got it.
A lot of time.
Got it.
Short amount of time.
Numbers 10.
The
2 bugles. Do you remember bugles?
2 bugs.
The little chips.
Oh, yeah.
Put them on your fingers.
So fun.
Yeah.
So fun. Like an edible toy. All toys are edible.
Put your mind to it.
Toy Story doesn't want you to know. Numbers chapter 10. This is bugles is the Message, I assume. It's trumpets in the NIV. It says you're supposed to make 2 trumpets and use them for calling the community together, for having the camp set out. So this is their mass comm strategy, which I actually kind of love.
Yeah.
I think it's very fun. If you're like, you hear a trumpet and you know, I think it's like what you think about being like firefighter, right? It's like, it could be something exciting at any moment. And it'll burst through the silence. But I have to wonder, because it's a pretty intricate system. It says in verse 3, when both are sounded, the whole community is to assemble before you. If only one is sounded, in verse 4, the leaders, the heads of the clans, are to assemble. When a trumpet blast is sounded, the tribes camping on the east are to set out. And at the sounding of a second blast, the camps on the south are to set out. So again, there's a lot of and that makes sense. I mean, you're trying to communicate different things to everybody across the whole camp. But I just wonder, like, what if you were asleep? Like, what if it kind of hit you like an alarm clock, and like the first one didn't really do anything. The second one, you're like, oh, I heard that one. And then you're like, but there's only one, so it's probably just for Caesar. Like, how many people missed assignments because they missed one of the trumpet blasts?
And then they got burned to death by God. Probably a few. That's why there's so many people touching corpses.
Doesn't say that.
Doesn't say it, but we know the consequences.
Also, what if you went out there and you're the bugler and you are like... Oh, that one wasn't great.
Yeah, like a warm-up one.
And then you sounds like, well...
Was that 2?
It sounded like 2.
You can't, like, negate it, like, do a...
That's like a reset bugle tone.
No, I like the Morse code of the trumpeteering. I think that's good.
Yeah.
Later on, I don't know if you're getting here, that, like... When you go to, it says verse like 8 through 10, like when you go to war against an aggressor, blow a long blast on the bugle so that God will notice you and deliver you from your enemies. Also at times of celebration, at the appointed feasts and new moon festivals, blow the bugles over your whole burnt offering and peace offering. They will keep your attention on God. I am God, your God. I just like that. And randomly at dinner, blow your trumpet.
Right.
You're gonna make a lot of friends that way. Right. Everybody's sitting down to eat, enjoying their nice meal, and they get a bugle sound to the face. I'm sure that's fun. I think they're just...
I have to imagine the practical execution of this. There were miscommunications. There's families walking up to the tabernacle and going like, we didn't hear that right. Nobody else is here. Like, I guess we'll just sacrifice a goat or something, huh? Since we're here.
We're here.
I might as well. No, I did like an 8. That was your wave offering. Yeah. I know it when I see it. I did like an 8, 9. When you go into battle into your own land against an enemy who's oppressing you, sound a blast on the trumpets. Then you will be remembered by the Lord your God and rescued from your enemies, is how the NIV reads. And so to me, that almost came across, you're using the bugle like the horn honk when the person in front of you is supposed to go. Like, hey, we have an enemy. We're going to go fight him. But I just want to make sure God's going to. I just want to make sure. So like, burp, burp. Just make sure. Okay, you're going to go. Great. Okay, then we'll go. Perfect. Cool. Now we're all set up.
Later on, we get into the march from Sinai to Paran.
Same chapter, right?
Same chapter. Starts... verse 11 through 13. In the second year, on the 20th day of the second month, the cloud went up over the dwelling of the testimony. At that, the people of Israel set out on their travels from the wilderness of Sinai until the cloud finally settled in the wilderness of Paran. They began their march at the command of God through Moses. So we continue. This is where we're at. Just giving you some context.
We're marching along. I like in verse 29, Moses talks to Hobab, son of Reuel, the Midianite, Moses' father-in-law. He says, we're setting out for the place about which the Lord said, I will give it to you. Come with us and we'll treat you well, for the Lord has promised good things to Israel. It's such a warm invitation. Like, you gotta come, man.
This is his brother-in-law. He wants his brother to come.
Everybody's going on this camping trip. You gotta come. It's gonna be so fun. Verse 30, Hobab has immediate thoughts. He answered, no, I will not go. I'm going back to my own land and my own people. It's very funny. To me, I'm very curious what goes into this conversation, because that is not
right. I didn't know
at all.
I didn't know that was an option here for anybody. Right. I thought everybody was like kind of stuck and huddled together because of this dangerous world out there. And yet some people are traveling. They're going on vacation.
Oh, yeah.
Some other people are like, yeah, I'm not going to go with you.
I'm not going.
I'm good.
No.
You could have been a part of this people, but then opted out.
And then we get a little insight in 31. But Moses said, please do not leave us. You know where we should camp in the wilderness, and you can be our eyes. If you come with us, we will share with you whatever good things the Lord gives us. There's just such a funny secondary. So the first invitation is like, everyone's going to come. It's going to be a blast, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, oh, you have an RV. And actually, we need the RV. So I actually need you to go.
You have the map.
Sorry, I said that wrong. We're not doing the trip if you can't come. I started with such a nice, fun invitation.
Come on, you're my brother-in-law. Let's hang out. No, for real though.
Hey, please don't leave me.
Hey, come play flag football with us at our Thanksgiving annual thing. No, I'm busy. Okay, you have to though, because you have the football.
You're the only one I know with a football. And I told everyone you were coming. So I need you to go. Then later in the chapter, this is my last thing, and this one really got me to giggle out loud. And you don't giggle out loud a lot when you're reading through Numbers. But this just made me laugh. In verse 35 of chapter 10, whenever the ark set out, Moses said, "Rise up, Lord." Verse 36, whenever it came to rest, he said, "Return, Lord." And this is exactly the cadence at which Pokemon trainers speak to their Pokemon when they send them out in the show. "I choose you, Yahweh." Return.
I'm not sure I get that joke, but that's okay.
They do.
They do. Yeah, the Message translation says, with the chest leading the way, Moses would say, "Get up, God." Just get up.
He's waking him up.
God, wake up.
Yeah.
And the same thing, like, rest with us, God. Stay down. Like, stay with the many thousands of Israel. Like, it's cool. It's cool. Relax. But get up.
Hey, bud.
That's terrible. Numbers 11. Camp
11.
Camp Taberah and Camp Kibroth Hatava.
This is kind of fun.
Somebody knows how to say that out there, and I think they know that I said that right.
Notable shift in the book. We get some stories happening now after a lot of census work and inventory. We're into some stories.
Let's do it.
And in verse 4, it starts, so there's a group that's sort of rebelling. Well, actively rebelling. The rabble with them began to crave other food. So this is the source of the problem.
Which seems crazy.
They're eating manna, and the rabble with them began to crave other food. And again, the Israelites started wailing and said, "If only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish we ate in Egypt at no cost. Also the cucumbers, melons, leeks, onions, and garlic. Now we've lost our appetite. We never see anything but this manna." I was reading this going like, dang, I didn't realize they were feeding you guys so good. Actually, you guys are kind of the villains in Exodus, if you put it this way.
Right.
Like, they were giving you melons, and you left in that way?
And meat?
That's so mean. Just kidding. It's obviously their hunger. Everybody's real hangry in Numbers 11.
The Message version says, but nothing tastes good out here. All we get is manna, manna, manna.
That's not real, is it?
For real.
Oh, gosh. That's
manna, manna.
So quality. That's a good shirt, too. Manna, manna, manna. Verse 10, Moses was troubled. He asked the Lord, "Why have you brought this trouble on your servant? What have I done to displease you that you put the burden of all these people on me? Did I conceive all these people? Did I give them birth?" This is something that this is very much a parent line. When you're a parent, you are so drowning in the weight of your own responsibility that you've brought on yourself that anytime someone tries to give you additional responsibility, you're like, No, I didn't give birth to this problem, and I gave birth to some problem. It is a lot of work. That's the cry of the parent.
That
I hear from.
And in
Moses
this case,
here.
Moses is going, "I'm not your mom. I'm not their mom.
I can't.
I'm not dealing with these kids." I like that in like verse 15, he basically says, "If this is how you intend to treat me, do me a favor and kill me. I've seen enough. I've had enough. Let me out of here." That is literally what the Message version says.
But these are just relatable lines from Moses.
Right. Moses is like, "God, you're tired of this?
Yeah.
I have to hear every single one of these. I only bring some of these cries and gripes to you when they all kind of get together and tell me they're gonna quit or something."
And I think secretly what's happening here is Moses is also a little tired of the manna. Like he's a little hungry too.
Middle management for sure.
Everybody's hungry.
Well, every once in a while he gets to break open a pigeon and eat that, I think.
And the good news is, we have verse 18 where I think is where God starts responding. "Tell the people, consecrate yourselves in preparation for tomorrow, and you'll eat meat. The Lord heard you when you wailed. If only we had meat to eat, we were better off in Egypt." It's just, I'm not reading that right. This is how, this is Moses, starts with God. You can kind of see the shift. Tell the people, consecrate yourselves in preparation for tomorrow, when you will eat the meat. The Lord heard you when you wailed, if only we had meat to eat. We were better off in Egypt. Well, now the Lord will give you meat and you'll eat it. And you'll not eat it for just 1 day or 2 days or 5 or 10 or 20 days, but for a whole month until it comes out of your nostrils and you loathe it because you have rejected the Lord.
I had that note too.
So every bit of this resonates.
Yeah. And let's, I think there's some literal Bible taking, like if you take the Bible literally here, that also could make sense here, because we find out later that after they eat, they're puking because they got sick. Like this plague fell on them after they're eating, and it probably was coming out of their nostrils just the other way.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Which is very gross. But yeah, you're going to eat meat until it's coming out of your nostrils.
Right. We can jump to that. What you're referring to is verse 33. While the meat was still between their teeth, and before it could be consumed, the anger of the Lord burned against the people, and he struck them with a severe plague. And I love this because we've talked about this a lot, but the narrative is so parent-child, where you're like, you kind of for the bajillionth time on this day, your kid has asked for ice cream. We can have ice cream now. Is your ice cream after? I did all this. Can I have my ice cream? Fine. You can have ice cream. Eat the whole bunch. Do a bath. Here, take a bath and ice cream tonight. I want you to have all that good all the ice cream. And again, only parents I think really have experienced this and can feel this. The kid's first response is like, cool.
Yeah.
Great. And so then you get to verse 33, and I think they're probably like, oh man, it kind of seems like God's mad at us. It's like,
God gave me the stuff I asked for. But it seems like God's not happy about it.
I got what I wanted. I'm getting an inclination.
Like I kept bugging my mom and dad to go to the beach, and so they brought me to the beach, but now I don't see where they are.
But then
You're stranded, kid.
I'm starting to get the sense they were not pleased with having to do this thing.
I liked how it all went down. Verse 30 to 34, then Moses and leaders of Israel went back to the camp. A wind set in motion by God swept quails from the sea.
Yeah.
They piled up to a depth of about 3 feet in the camp and as far out as a day's walk in every direction.
Yeah.
All that day and night and into the next day, the people were out gathering the quail. Huge amounts of quail. This is my favorite line. Even the slowest person among them gathered at least 60 bushels.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's some kind of general cleanup you have to do with so many dead birds flying around. You can't just leave them there. And then they spread out all over the camp for drying. But while they were still chewing the quail and had hardly swallowed the first bites, God's anger blazed out against the people. He hit them with a terrible plague. They ended up calling the place Kibroth Hatava, graves of the craving. There they buried the people who craved meat.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Before then, there's a good back and forth with Moses and God. To verse 21, Moses said, here I am among 600,000 men on foot, and you say, I'll give them meat to eat for a whole month. Would they have enough if flocks and herds were slaughtered for them? Would they have enough if all the fish in the sea were caught for them? Again, you just can't beat Moses and God dialogue to me. It's just very snarky. The Lord answered Moses, oh, is the Lord's arm too short? Now you will see whether or not what I say will come true for you. So that's when the quails come in. And then, you get the sense that Moses is stressed. I think God picks up. So Moses went out and told the people what the Lord had said in verse 24. He brought together 70 of the elders and had them stand around the tent. In verse 25, the Lord came in the cloud and spoke with them, and he took some of the power of the Spirit that was on him and put it on the 70 elders. When the Spirit rested on them, they prophesied, but they did not do so again. So you have this kind of governing wisdom and discernment and power that Moses had, and then it was distributed so that, because again, I think we're getting the sense that maybe Moses is about to snap. What's funny to me is the next little anecdote that's noted, verse 26. However, 2 men whose names were Eldad and Medad,
Eldad, Medad, Eldad es Medad.
I did not even notice that till just now.
It's a Spanish lesson.
But yeah, Eldad and Medad had remained in the camp. They were listed among the elders, but did not go out to the tent. So they remained in the camp. Yet the Spirit also rested on them, and they prophesied in the camp. So it was almost, this is what I'm picking up on bullet points here. Moses is like, this is a lot of work. And then God's like, yeah, we need to get you some help. We need to promote some people so that they have more responsibility. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to get 70 of them. So he puts out the invites. And 68 of them are like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. And 2 of them are like, no, thanks. No, nah. Yeah, I don't want, it's like about to break Moses in half. Then I don't want the job. Like, no, thanks. I don't want this job. And they were like, well, I don't go to the camp. Then if I don't go to the place, I don't get the job, right? Like, that's got to make sense. And then God's like, gotcha. Still got the job. Even though you tried to stay home, you still got the job. And they prophesy in their tent. Verse 27, a young man ran and told Moses, Eldad and Medad are prophesying in the camp. Okay, that sentence is fantastic. Okay, but who's prophesying in the camp? Eldad and Medad. Are those... How... Is it the same person? We're talking... You're Mike's kid, right?
Sudad. Soydad. Medad. Eldad.
If anyone knows about dads, it's us. Numbers chapter 12.
Numbers chapter 12. Camp Hazeroth. Let's do it.
Camp Hazeroth. This is just.
Oh yeah, I like that. This is kind of fun. We're still into storytelling.
We're into some story time, but there's a little anecdote right at the beginning. As much has been made of it, and I want to start here with some information that is real actually. Mm-hmm. So most people believe it is generally held that the first 5 books of the Bible are authored by Moses. And there's some debate about that among like modern day scholars, just around questions about like, how did that happen? But it's certainly that, maybe they were written down, maybe it was like an oral tradition, but like that Moses is the author of what we know as the first 5 books. Mm-hmm. And for stuff like this, I typically tune into what the Jewish community thinks on this stuff. And the Jewish community has a text. I want to make sure that I do the Talmud, which seems to just very much operate under the belief that Moses authors the first 5 books. So for me personally, and I'm not saying that, to me is like, I feel okay saying like the authorship of the first 5, probably the Genesis, a lot of this stuff comes from Moses. Why does that matter, Anthony? Stop teaching me stuff. I hear you, and I will. In verse 3 of this chapter says, now Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth.
Definitely written by Moses.
It's like I said, a lot of reason to believe Moses jotted these words down to some extent. And it's a parenthetical here. It doesn't necessarily add to the story.
Nope.
But it is noted in verse 3 of this chapter that Moses...
It's sandwiched in between the story of Miriam and Aaron talked against Moses behind his back because of his Cushite wife. He had married a Cushite woman. Shame, shame. They said, is it only through Moses that God speaks? Doesn't he also speak through us? God overheard their talk. And then this line, now the man Moses was a quietly humble man, more so than anyone living on earth. Why? Why did we throw that in there? Doesn't matter. Just a little sticky note. Just want to let you know.
First on the humble list.
God broke. So then in that conversation, God broke in suddenly on Moses and Aaron and Miriam saying, come out, you 3, to the tent of meeting. The 3 went out. God descended to the pillar of, in a pillar of cloud and stood at the entrance to the tent. When they stepped out, he said, listen carefully to what I'm telling you. If there is a prophet of God among you, I make myself known to him in visions. I speak to him in dreams, but I don't do it that way with my servant Moses. He has the run of my entire house. I speak to him intimately, in person, in plain talk, without riddles. And I thought that God, you can speak to people without riddles, right? You could speak clearly and like concisely and like directly to people, but you only choose to do it with one guy. You think maybe you're setting yourself up for some confusion, some like mixed messages down the road? As the CEO, I would suggest maybe you speak to everybody in plain language.
I think you got to be.
I'm not going to tell you to do your job.
I think you got to be in the top 3 humblest people for that to be the case. And Moses, we know his spot. And it ain't 2 or 3. It's 1. Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. It's just an interesting. Well, like I said, just a lot of paternal vibes from this section, and there's nothing like than busting in on an argument with all of your kids and
Get out.
Everyone in the living room. Family meeting. It's very like.
This is why he's in charge.
So they give him that speech. As a response to that speech, Miriam, there's a punishment. Verse 10, when the cloud lifted from above the tent, Miriam's skin was leprous, became as white as snow. Leprous, I'm sure in the message is something about leprosy. It's just skin disease at the time, very dangerous. Aaron turned toward her, saw that she had a defiling skin disease. And he said to Moses, Miriam is Aaron's wife, if you're jumping in for the first time, and give you some character background. Aaron says to Moses, please, my Lord, I ask you not to hold against us the sin we have so foolishly committed. Do not let her be like a stillborn infant coming from its mother's womb with its flesh half eaten away. And I just thought, my gosh, Aaron, what a visual image that was to give to everybody. I think we could have got that done with like, hey, can you make her feel better? I don't think we need like the vivid details of the other things that are also disgusting and sad.
No.
But Aaron gave it to us anyway. Then verse 13. Truly, I don't know what to make of this. I got nothing for anybody other than I feel like it needs to be reported. So Moses cried out to the Lord, please God, heal her. The Lord returned to Moses and says, if her father had spit in her face, would she not have been in disgrace for 7 days? Confine her outside the camp for 7 days. After that, she can be brought back. In short, there's a disagreement. Miriam gets leprosy. The discrepancy is that they were talking bad about Moses. Moses says like, hey, God, please, can you heal Miriam? God says, oh, yeah, well, what if her dad spit in her face?
I don't know. I guess she'd be ritually unclean.
I don't know. I don't see the connection. But okay. I mean, she's healed. She goes outside for 7 days, but that's just a wild run of dialogue. And that's what we're given.
I liked it in verse 10 in the Message version. It says, when the cloud moved off from the tent, with an exclamation point, Miriam had turned leprous, her skin like snow. Aaron took one look at Miriam, a leper. It's not my emphasis added. There's an exclamation point in here. I didn't put the exclamation point in. A leper.
Nothing else? That's it?
No, that's it. And then it goes, and then he says to Moses, please, my master, please don't come down so hard on us for this foolishness and thoughtless sin. But yeah, Aaron took one look at Miriam, a leper. By God.
I wonder if this little glimpse into Aaron's dialogue is a glimpse into like how he does everything else. You know, like if it's like, if they're planning a party and he's just like, oh man, we're getting everything. Miriam's like, I'm nervous. I just want everybody to have a good time. And he's like, yeah, I hope it doesn't turn out like the Thompsons' party when there was a fire and it burned. Everybody in the town burned. It was really it was a disaster and there was a lot of death and they're still in so many ways like recovering emotionally. And it's like, in some ways it's like, are you ever the same after, you see that kind of thing?
And she's like, I just meant, I hope it doesn't rain.
I was like,
oh Lord. Wasn't really thinking about that.
I was thinking, I hope we had staked the bouncy house with enough stakes. Why
breeze.
are you the way that you are, Aaron? Jeez.
Numbers 13, scouting out Canaan.
Oh, love this story and you gotta love the start of this.
Why not?
Well, I guess I say the start in verse 17. Moses is sending people to go explore the promised land of Canaan. He's working with his 12 tribes, sending one from each tribe. And a lot of times in the Bible, people are sent out to do things with very little detail, very little explanation as to how and why and what. But you gotta love in verse 17, this is when we start. Moses sends them to explore Canaan and he says, go up through the Negev and into the hill country, see what the land is like and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many, what kind of land do they live in, is it good or bad, what kind of towns do they live in, are they unwalled or fortified, how's the soil, is it fertile or poor, are there trees in it, and do your best to bring back some of the fruit of the land. And I just love a good intake form.
Yeah, here's take my clipboard.
Yeah.
Go ahead and then mark off what they have.
Okay. Love soil that. Bad. Uh-huh. People big. Great. This is what, this is what I want. I want more of these type of jobs.
Yeah, these are the things I need to know. Here is a list written down. Check it off.
There's boxes.
At the end of the message says of that section, it says, try to bring back a sample of produce that grows there. This is the season for the first ripe grapes.
Right. Yeah, that's a note in that section.
Yeah. Just so you know, I hear there's some nice grapes. I do think Moses was probably trying to just make some wine. But
I mean, it sounds a little bit like, it's season. If you're up in the...
We are in wine country.
Northeast, and you're an orchard.
It's a vineyard, but go ahead. An orchard is where they would make apple wine.
I was using apples as an example. Like if you knew someone was going there, and you'd be like, hey, can you give me some apples? Because I know they have apples up there.
I'm not getting apples from an orchard anymore. I'm putting... I'm going on a hot take right now. If they're not pink lady apples, I don't want them. I'm done.
You're done with all apples with pink lady apples.
I'll take a Granny Smith with some peanut butter. That's it. And maybe in a fruit salad. But pink lady apples, those are my people.
That's what you love?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, we eat some apples here in this.
Not messing around with any golden delicious filth.
I have to catch you up on the fruit journey I'm on, and you're not going to like it.
I never do.
Because there's a lot of melons involved.
Oh, gross.
I know, and you hate melons, but everything else gives me cold sores. All right.
How old are you? When did you turn 104? Everything else gives me cold sores.
It's true. All right. I got to get into some heavier stuff here. I can't see my eyes.
Heavier than your cold sores?
Heavier than my cold sores. I got to get into some stuff.
Okay.
You ready?
I think so.
Verse 28. I think this is, I like this. Catch up on the story. So it gives them a very clear intake form. They go, to their credit, seem to do the intake form exactly as so. They bring back some grapes. It's kind of interesting. They describe it as like two of them carry a branch across their shoulders, and it's one cluster of grapes on what would appear to be like a massive thing. It seems like these big, beautiful fruit that's there and all these things. So they come back and they're giving this report about what they found. And this is part of that in verse 28. And they say all the good. They say like, it's beautiful fruit, it's a beautiful country. But then they say in verse 28, but the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. We saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them. And my people, this is the stuff I really get into. So I'm going to try to hold it back a little bit. Giants. Yeah. We're talking about giants. We're talking about Nephilim. And there's some interesting theories around this. That's what I've enjoyed sharing. So the Nephilim are mentioned in Genesis 6. We covered this a long, long time ago. This is the passage in Genesis 6. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. And the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever. So it's this sort of like the Nephilim conceptually is this like hybrid race of like kind of like eternal spiritual beings and human beings, and they're referenced in the Noah thing. Verse 4, the Nephilim were on the earth in those days and also afterward when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. One more little anecdotal piece of evidence here. So that's the Nephilim, and this would be something that everyone in the community was familiar with, because this is like from a Genesis text. So they're familiar with the story of how they got to where they are. So these guys come back and say they're Anak, they're descendants of Nephilim. A lot of interesting stuff if you're into this stuff like I am and you want to Google it. There's like a valley of Anak, and in that kind of concept is attached to a couple other like historical things they found that are kind of cool. And then the last thing I'll say is these. It's mentioned in Deuteronomy 9. The Anakites. The people are strong and tall. Anakites. one of those. You know about them, and I've heard it said, "Who can stand up against the Anakites?" So there was a familiarity here. And the biblical, there are some texts that refer to like their actual height, and they're translated to be like 7, 8, 9 feet tall. Is like the thing. So it's kind of interesting. The Anakites are mentioned to be 7, 8, 9 feet tall. We certainly know that people are 7 feet tall today. Like that's a thing that can happen. Is in that people have, this is crazy, but don't to exaggerate. So there's a couple of things that could be going on, and here's what I think is interesting. You can go on a really interesting rabbit hole of Nephilim stuff, like if you want to. The Book of Enoch is really interesting, talks in more detail about that stuff. It's not in the Bible, but
our Bible, yeah.
It's not in our Bible, but it is referenced in our Bible. Like there's parts where biblical authors referenced a text, and that text is the Book of Enoch. So it's interesting. I've read it. I recommend. I just think it's a fun read. You can go on a deep dive of Nephilim. Here's what I think is more interesting in like the personal sense is conceptually rocking with the story. Nothing would have survived the flood. Rocking with the Genesis story. You would have
sure.
So in theory, if the Nephilim were around before the flood, they wouldn't be around after the flood. So
unless it only flooded about 8 feet.
It was only
and then these Nephilim.
Which leads us to 2 possibilities, and thank you for tracking with me this far. One, that the Nephilim like somehow existed after the flood, because you do get an interesting little note in that section I read in Genesis that says they were on the earth in those days and also afterward, and people are like, I don't know what that might mean. So there's a chance this concept, persisted. But the second thing would be that the Anakites, this was a people group that maybe wasn't connected to the Nephilim, and they were just tall. And they were just tall people. And that these folks, these 10 spies, were just like not into this idea. And so they pull in the idea of the Nephilim to just sort of scare everybody.
Right.
Like they're like, oh, these are like monstrous people. We're never going to overtake them or whatever. So that's all the stuff that's going on there with that little anecdote that I thought was interesting. But those are a couple of fun deep dives if you're into sort of like that type of the Bible stuff interests you. And that's my rant on that. Tim, any questions? Anything I can clarify for you?
No, I don't want to learn anything
Based
today.
On all
No.
Goliath is attached to this group as like a taller person. And
I do love the just exploration of, okay, well, if they were alive before the flood and then they were alive after the flood, but they weren't on the boat, what gives? How'd that happen? And to me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't take away from other parts of the whole story.
Sure.
Like there's a lot of stories here. There's a lot of gaps in stories. Call me a heretic. That's fine. I just think if we focus too much on that stuff, then we kind of miss the whole point, the bigger point. So
it's like, there's just so many things. I love having space to explore these type of things because you're like, okay, well, if we are going to entertain for a second that this is like a spiritual human mixed being, then certainly like we have biology questions we have to answer of like, I don't know, couldn't they breathe underwater? I don't know. Like what's off the table at that point? You know what I'm saying? So to say that they survived something like that, even you can hold all of these things at the same time. And we're just not sure on any of it. But I think it's interesting. And I think it's interesting. You have all that great story and like cool sort of lore that goes into that moment. And at the end of the day, it could have been that these guys were just spooked and they were like, I don't know, they look like ghosts.
Well, and I think that's
something like that.
I think that's what we find out here in chapter 14. Also, maybe we find out that the Nephilim became, in the flood, they became the megalodons, and then they turned back into these other people after the flood. Just a theory.
That's the Maui stuff you're into right there.
Just a theory.
From
it's
Moana.
just a theory. I'm not saying it's true, but it's definitely a theory.
What do we need to know about Numbers chapter 14?
Numbers chapter 14. It starts off, the whole community at this point now was in an uproar, wailing all night long. All the people of Israel grumbled against Moses and Aaron. The entire community was in on it. Why didn't we die in Egypt or in this wilderness? Why has God brought us to this country to kill us? Our wives and children are about to become plunder. Why don't we just head back to Egypt? And right now, like, don't they remember what just, like, we just, like, killed people because they whined to God. Like, you whined to God about your food, and then you got all the food that you could handle, and then you're puking it up afterward, and then you had to bury people in that land, and you had to name it a thing that was related to how many people died because of the meat that they were craving. But again, it's all kind of came from this like probably exaggerating at the very least of the story from the spies that had been sent out. So soon they were all saying to one another in verse 4, let's pick a new leader. Let's head back to Egypt. Moses and Aaron fell on their faces in front of the entire community, gathered in emergency session. And then they just talk about don't be afraid of them, trying to like calm the people, like chill them out just a little bit.
How many trumpet blasts do you think is the emergency?
That's at least 42. There's just that one long like the emergency broadcast.
I wonder if they all had a book, and they were like 32, 33, 34. Okay, 34 is Moses is out of salt. Do we have any salt?
37 is there's coyotes on the perimeter.
That's right. 38 is it wasn't a coyote, it was my neighbor's dog that got out again. So he gave himself room to sort of correct. I like in this verse or in this chapter, verse 9, and it's a great someone tells you, the worst they can say is no. Some people, that's their idea for if you're going to like ask someone on a date or ask for a promotion or something like that. And I think it's important that when you hear that advice to remember verses 9 and 10. Moses and Aaron say, only do not rebel against the Lord. Don't be afraid of the people of the land because we will devour them. Their protection is gone. The Lord's with us. Don't be afraid of them, guys. We can do this. You with me? You think what's the worst they can say is no. Verse 10, but the whole assembly talked about stoning them.
Oh, that seems to have backfired.
It's actually even worse than no.
I thought you were just going to leave.
I thought maybe you guys just pick a new ruler instead. I don't know why I had to be stoned in the process. That seems harsh. That's what I had from Numbers chapter.
Verse like 13 through 16. So then like Moses is talking to God now, and it's sort of like talking God into like being cool with this.
Oh yeah.
And so he says like he tells God in the tent of meeting, or God says, how long will people treat me like dirt? How long will they refuse to trust me, etc. I've hit them with a plague. I'm going to kill them. Or he said, I've had enough. I'm going to hit them with a plague and kill them. And Moses is like, God, okay, the Egyptians are going to hear about this. Moses is trying to talk God off this ledge.
Yeah.
You delivered this people from Egypt with great show of strength, and now the Egyptians will tell everyone. It's like, what? Come on, God, what are the Egyptians going to say?
Yeah.
And then he says, like, if you kill this entire people in one stroke, all the nations will have heard what's been going on. They'll say, since God didn't get these people into the land which he had promised to give them, he slaughtered them out in the wilderness. Now, please let the power of the master expand, enlarge itself greatly along the lines you have laid out earlier when you said, God, slow to angry and huge in loyal love, forgiving iniquity and rebellion and sin. Like, don't forget, God. These are your words. You're cool. You don't need to kill everybody, please.
Yeah.
I like that plea from Moses there.
Yeah, it actually sounds a lot like something you'd say, to be honest with you. You're the king of like, hey guys, all the kids are together at like a construction site, and you're like, there's dangerous stuff here, but it's not your safety I'm interested in. It's the rest of my day where I don't want to take you to the hospital.
That is literally verbatim.
That's what you like to, you find a way to position it. So I that does resonate. I could see why that would resonate with you. I also want to say, and maybe this is what I'll throw in for my closing. Moses and God here, this whole run of like 3 or 4 chapters is just so paternal, and I mean, paternal means like parent, right? Or is it exclusively like maternal, paternal, like the grouping of like parents dealing with kids? Parental. There we go. It's all very parental. And even as much as like, 2 chapters ago, Moses is like, I'm done with this. I'm out. Like, I didn't just kill me. If I have to keep doing this, I want nothing to do with it. And then you get God in this chapter, like, that's it. Can't do it anymore. So I feel like, if you're a couple raising kids, you feel like you should take some take some heart and go like, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's days one of you melts down and the other one's got one of you's playing at all points. One of you's playing Chris Pratt in Jurassic Park, going like, hold. You've done wrong, but you need to also hold now for a second because you're now need to be. And some days you're one of the Raptors and some days you're Chris Pratt and you switch. And as long as we're not all Raptors, everything's fine. Somebody has to be Chris Pratt. And that's what this passage teaches us. Sometimes God's the one being like, hey, it's cool. We're going to chill things out. And then in this particular chapter, we've got Moses being like, hey, we'll sort it out. We'll be fine.
The point is, find yourself a good partner that's going to chill you out when you lose your mind.
You need, and then maybe just hey, I'm done being Chris Pratt. You're in. I'm freaking out now. And then you start losing your mind. And then that's your partner's cue to go like, hold. You're not right yet. Just so you know, just because I have to deal with this doesn't mean you're off the hook. But you gotta not, you gotta cool off for a second. But you're still in trouble. Just don't think we're done here.
This chapter ends with what we talked about before. So 36, 38, it says, so it happened that the men Moses sent out to scout the land returned to circulate false rumors about the land, causing the entire community to grumble against Moses. So this was all a fabrication.
There you go.
All these men died, having spread false rumors of the land. They died in a plague, confronted by God. And I hear God saying, like, liar, liar, plague or fire. Like, you're gonna die. So it was false according to the text here.
Yeah,
that they just lied about.
Which makes sense, right? Because you have like this sort of like built-in lore in the community that you would pull from to spook everybody. That's a totally plausible explanation to me. It is an interesting part of the story. So again, in kind of this format, don't want you to miss the story. So what happens here is they get to the promised land, but they don't go in it at this point. The spies go in, they come back, the people kind of grumble. There's almost this huge revolt. They don't go into the promised land at this moment. And then all of the what's said here at the end is that everybody that's involved, every
whiner, every like griper whiner, everybody who's complained about this whole thing, never going to get in to see it.
Don't get to go in. Only Caleb and Joshua would eventually see it. So it's great. I mean, Numbers is picking up. Numbers is picking up steam. This is a good little section here.
A little bite to end on.
Good little bite to end on. Almost a little cliffhanger a little bit. I was kind of curious. I was like,
don't read ahead.
I could do the next chapter, but we'll do that next time. So that's Numbers 7 through 14. Making our way through the book of Numbers. If there's anything we need to know, listen, I've said this before, I think, but it bears repeating every couple of episodes. Some of you share things that you're like, oh, hey, here's a little factoid I heard about this or something I learned along the way about this particular. I like to hear that stuff. On the comments and things. I think that's fun. So feel free to share whatever you got. We don't know stuff, so somebody out there probably should. If you want to go on a deep dive, we have some good friends, Ninjas or Butterflies. They like talking Nephilim stuff. Also our friends at Blurry Creatures. They talk about that stuff all the time, and it's really interesting. Big fan.
Nobody wants this. They don't want it.
They don't want what?
They don't want this weird
more Nephilim
sci-fi deep talk you're on.
I do.
They don't want to talk about Pokemon.
I do. I love it so much.
They don't want to hear you sing.
Don't make me sing.
I'm not going to.
Don't make me
I've tried
sing.
To...
You've seen that SNL sketch, Kristen Wiig?
No.
Oh, it's so good. Anywho, that's the end of the podcast. November. Numbers 7 through 14. We did it. Let us know what you think in the comments. Send us your awkward church stories for Churches Are Funny, new segment we're working on. At The Bible is Funny. Send them in the DMs. I'd love to hear your stories, and be on the lookout for that soon. Any last words, Tim?
No. Go.
Oh, man. I didn't even ask you what you learned today. Blew right by it. Did you learn something you need to share?
I learned to listen to God. Or God will kill me with fire and plague. Those are the only two options.
Old rules.
Follow the rules.
Follow the rules. Just not a bad idea. All right, love you so much. We'll be back here with another episode real soon, and we'll talk to you then. Okay, bye.
Love you, bye.